In modern metropolises, the ecological situation is far from ideal. There are a large number of cars, factories, and plants. Many people want to move to a place with clean air, to live near a lake or river. However, they cannot fulfill their dream. Not all soils are suitable for building individual houses. Human economic activity has a notorious negative impact on nature, as it requires digging holes and trenches and bringing in utilities. Russian innovators, residents of Skolkovo Technopark, have designed autonomous modular houses. Almost entirely harmless to the environment, they can be installed on any surface.
We wanted to do something that was not on the market. So we made a house that could collect water and process it. We built a septic tank into the body of the house to clear out all the waste. We also made it self-sufficient so that it could collect sunlight and convert it into 220 volts for the consumer.
The building consists of sections, in other words, modules. They are produced at the factory and delivered to the assembly site ready-made, and then connected with special fasteners.
After we had created all this, we brought one house to Kursk for testing. I'm from Kursk myself. I have land there, so I brought it to my property. I lived in the house myself, tested it out for a year. We liked everything, and we decided to continue on with this project. You have to bring a trailer. You have to bring a crane. Then, you put the house on the trailer and move it. First, a team comes in and determines the density of the soil. Then a crew drives in the piles based on the samples. Then the house can be placed on top of the piles. It gives the house extra stability. We have two popular sizes of houses. A 35 square meter one, like this one, and a 25 square meter one. The smaller house is almost the same as this one, but without an extra room, a full bedroom. It has a metal frame, insulation, and finishes.
Luba, tell us, is it warm inside a module house in winter?
At first glance, the outer walls seem to be too thin, only 25 centimeters thick. But the thickness of the load-bearing structures doesn't matter in this case. Inside, there is polyurethane foam, a modern synthetic material. Its heat capacity of 5 centimeters is equal to 80 centimeters of concrete. It is easy to imagine that it is not cold in such houses, even at negative temperatures Celsius.
For our latitude, it is more than enough. If we talk about the far north, we have to research temperature conditions, their longevity. We need more information to offer more energy-intensive insulation. There's a fireplace here, and you can use it to heat the house. Yes, it's possible, but in individual cases. This house collects mostly rainwater. The capacity of the fully filled tanks inside the house is 5,000 liters. With reasonable water use, this will be enough for about 4 months. During those 4 months, it will rain at some point and the tanks will be refilled. If, God forbid, there is a drought and it does not rain for several months, you can call a water truck and refill it 1 to 2 times a year, if necessary. Rainwater goes into the first tank. A small one. This first tank catches all of the dirt, such as leaves, needles, and branches. Anything that can get on the roof, dust, and so on. After it, all the water goes into the second tank, through the filtration system. Already purified, it goes into containers, the large ones with UV lamps, which additionally disinfect all the water so that it does not germinate. If you do not use the house, the disinfected water will not bloom, so the consumers receive it already purified. If you install an additional reverse osmosis water purification system in the kitchen, you can even drink the water right away. Filters need to be replaced eventually, depending on water consumption. On average, they last for about a year. Then again, it depends on how you use your water and on how much water passes through the system. There are only 2 organizations in the world that are trying to implement the same thing. An average solar panel today produces about 100 watts per square meter. All our competitors who build modular homes include 2 solar panels per house. Yes, they also have batteries and an inverter, but that is only enough to light up the bulbs in the ceiling. A house that can function on its own, completely off the grid, there is no such thing yet. For now, we use the latest generation of solar panels, which produce 700 watts per 2 square meters. Based on this, the house can really be self-sufficient. In spring, summer, and autumn, it will have enough electricity because the number of solar panels on the house produces about 20 kilowatts per hour.
Even if you turn on all household appliances, an electric kettle, a washing machine, an electric cooker, and a microwave, the network will withstand it and nothing will burn out. It is worth noting that this invention is beneficial even in cloudy weather, although not as much as on a clear day. The scattered rays still reach the surface of the Earth.
Solar panels have to be cleaned from dust, dirt, leaves, and also after rain, as it leaves marks. In order for them to produce the maximum number of watts, they need to be clean. The house is equipped with a smart home, which, of course, is controlled from the phone. You can see everything that happens to the house. Who has opened it, who has closed it, if someone has entered it, for example. There are room volume sensors, and if something happens there, you'll be notified. A lazy home would probably be a more fitting name for it. All smart homes now are actually lazy homes. They don't have much intelligence. In our case, they show how much water you have in your tanks, how much energy you have left, the temperature of the floors, and so on. So, in our opinion, it is much more fitting to call them lazy homes. What we're doing now is we want to release our own smart home system that's able to observe. For example, if a person shivers, the house realizes that the person feels cold. And it raises the temperature inside. It understands that the person has left one of the rooms, so it either switches off the light there or sets it to a minimum. It has to be adaptive. It has to adjust to its owner, not just perform ordinary functions. The house works independently and does not use any resources other than those that are pre-installed in it. Probably the first thing that is green in this house is that it does not need any utilities. I mean, you do not have to connect to gas. You do not have to connect electricity or water. Secondly, if you take a regular construction, for example, apartment blocks. I don't remember the exact figures, but for each flat they build, they create 2 or 3 times more rubbish than the flat itself takes up. In terms of space, that is how the whole construction industry works. In our case, there's very little rubbish left from the production of the houses. If we were to talk about 3D printing, there's virtually no waste. Today, everyone prints with a standard mixture for 3D printers. It weighs around 2.5 tons per cubic meter. We are currently working with the Research Institute of Moscow State University of Science and Technology to develop a new material Its properties will be somewhere between concrete and plastic. Its weight should be about 800 kilograms per cubic meter, which will make the construction much lighter. By building our houses, we're improving the environment and making life better for people.
Luba, is it possible to connect modular houses to get one large building as a result?
Yes, such buildings are already being made. Let me show you.